I'm Baratunde, the founder and CEO of Carbice Corporation, a spin out from the Georgia Institute of Technology that's located in Atlanta, Georgia. And my company makes thermal interface products engineers can trust. And it derives from nanotechnology, and we help engineers achieve more by using Carbice. So what is Carbice Carbon? So Carbice Carbon is the only dry pad that beats thermal grease. And it's made from the revolutionary carbon nanotube. Uniquely, what we do is we align these nanotubes, and we have invented chemistry to covalently anchor them into recycled aluminum foil. So you can see here in this image, the nanotubes grown on both sides of the aluminum foil. They provide high heat spreading through the plane, in the plane, and high heat conductivity through the thickness. And so this is really the revolutionary technology that Carbice Corporation is commercializing. And at this point, this product is used from satellites to test equipment to consumer products. You're seeing semiconductor test equipment that has the material integrated. It's used in aerospace and defense. It's flying on several satellites, both LEO and GEO, that are orbiting Earth today. And now it's moving into high performance computing and even consumer devices, even your coffee pot or your coffee maker. Here's one example of why this is really important, because when you are trying to get performance out of a GPU, this is an example where our Carbice product, the Icebox, not only can give you 2 degrees lower temperature, which can lead to 10 to 20% more GPU performance on initial install. When you start to run these devices, you run them hard, you potentially use them in cars for autonomous driving, the performance of Carbice actually gets better with cycling, the thermomechanical cycling that happens naturally in these applications, whereas the competing materials like paste and grease, they start off worse and then they get worse. And so 1 degree of temperature means a lot in high performance computing. And this is really the value proposition that Carbice serves in the market. One of the key value propositions is that the material is industrialized. So it's not enough just to make nanotechnology in the lab and to show that it can perform to a particular technical metric. You need to make it so that it's robust and practical people can use it in manufacturing. And that's what you're seeing here with a simple to install tacky material that you just simply can put onto a heatsink. And it's basically a drop-in replacement ready to go in an application, a very robust mechanically material. So this Carbice material now has made it into several different applications in space and defense, in semiconductor test and burn-in, high performance computing, LEDs, lasers, power, telecom, and so many more. But why, how did this technology get to this point is really the question. And when you think about where we were at the beginning of this journey to where we are now, where we have been manufacturing and shipping to customers for over 2 years, we're producing over 500,000 square inch capacity with very good yield. And then next year, we're going to tremendously scale up this production to over 100 million square inch capacity by Q3 or Q4 of 2021. But this has been a long journey that has required a lot of organizational support, going all the way back to when I was a student, first at Vanderbilt, where I first got introduced to carbon nanotubes in 1999, to going to Purdue for a PhD, where my PhD was funded by Intel and NASA fellowships. So fellowships and student support was so critical. I interned at Intel in the summers. I got exposure to what it was like to both do research in the lab and also practically implement it in a factory. And then when I graduated, I went to Georgia Tech and became a professor, where DARPA supported my program with the nanothermal interface program. We solved a lot of hard technical problems. And so really those were the academic phases where there were key support mechanisms through fellowships and grants that allowed this technology to move forward. And then while a professor, we were able to leverage programs like the Georgia Research Alliance and the Advanced Technology Development Center and several small business innovative research grants from the Air Force, the Army, and National Science Foundation to start moving from basic science and solving really hard chemistry and physics problems to more applied research where we can demonstrate use cases that would be attractive to people. After that, the company moved to a phase where we raised an angel investment round. We started to get the attention of the city of Atlanta, and we won a startup exchange between Atlanta and Toulouse. So we started to focus more on the business and the value proposition to the customer side of our growth. And partnerships at different levels were key there. The city of Toulouse, the city of Atlanta, Invest Atlanta, Tech Square Labs and GRA Ventures started to raise our seed round in 2017. These are local venture capital funds that have as LPs, the state of Georgia, many big companies in Georgia, all the way to most recently where we've raised an A round with big venture firms like Downing Ventures, Toyota, and Trump Ventures, who are larger partners that are here to support and underwrite our global expansion. When you think about the next stage, and nanotechnology has now come a long way from basic research and science papers to applied work to real use. I mean, at this point, Carbice carbon is in use. People are benefiting from it in practical everyday applications. This nanotechnology, not just ours, but in general, is already disrupting the global supply chains. And the reality is that those left behind will not be competitive. In particular, it's vital for the US to stay competitive by investing and supporting a domestic supply chain in key industries like electronics manufacturing, where nanomaterials are likely to play the most disruptive role. So some things that we can think about as we think about moving nanotechnologies forward are really, what are the pinch points and how do we help secure these critical materials in our supply chain? Well, a lot of it comes down to getting the attention of the right people. Really key industries like the US aerospace and defense industry, the semiconductor industry, where there's a need for us to have a domestic manufacturing investment. And it makes it even more competitive if we're able to support that domestic manufacturing in this nanotechnology space. So those are the next steps, I believe that are important for Carbice, but I also believe these are the next steps that are important for the community as a whole to really bring awareness to the mature nanotechnologies and help them move more strategically into our critical supply chains for the benefit of our industries and our country, but also for the world, because that type of support is what allows companies like Carbice and others to go from producing 100,000 or 100 million square inches of product to 100 billion and employing more and more people. So that's the story of Carbice. I look forward on this panel to discussing in detail your questions and discussing with the other panelists about how we can together work to make nanotechnology a central part of our future. Thank you.